I want to start this morning by asking you for a very big favor. My wife is in the other room. I saw her come in with the boys. So you have to just promise me that you will not tell her that I am going to tell you something that she would kill me if she found out that I was about to tell you this. So just promise this is between us. And I hope that in the pray and play space the volume is down. It's possible. So we have in our room upstairs a couch. And this couch, I'm sorry, I'm going to give a little Catholic theology here, but this couch is what I call the couch of clothing purgatory. Because this couch in our room becomes the resting place for a lot of clothes. Clothes that are in their not entirely sure what we're supposed to do with them phase. There are some clothes that go out from one season and need to be put in storage, some clothes that are laid out for donation, other clothes that are supposed to be in our dry cleaning pile, but all of them tend to make their way to the couch of clothing purgatory, where they sit for a long, long time, and we just ignore it and pretend it doesn't exist until we can't ignore it anymore. And we come to a point where one day we will just make eyes and we'll know it's time. It's time for tshuva. And it's time to clean up that couch. This is the last sermon that I'm going to be giving before Elul starts. And I hope that you can see me making eye contact with you all because it's time to clean the couch. If you are like me, I can only speak for myself, but I tend to procrastinate. Not just in different parts of my life and work or different things, but I tend to procrastinate when it matters most, which is spiritually. I tend to procrastinate. And there's something that I think we rely on a little bit when we get to the high holidays, when we get to Elul, where we say, tshuva, 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 we'll get to tshuva, and then it's Elul. And we've realized that the couch is full of clothes. And we realize that all the tshuva that we could have been doing through this past year, we've kind of held off, and there it is. And it's waiting for us, and it's just sitting there. And it makes it really tough because it's overwhelming. One of my favorite books of all time, and my mom reads this every year too, is Rabbi Alan Liu of Blessed Memories, This is Real and You Are Completely Unprepared. It's a beautiful book all about getting ready for the high holidays, which is to say that all of this is real, it's happening, it's powerful, and we can't be fully prepared for it. It's just impossible. But what I want to argue for this morning is that we don't just let it be. It is easy, it is very, very easy to look at the couch and say, we'll take care of it another day, or you know what? Someday we'll move and the couch will just be here and we'll let it be here. It's easy to get to that point. But I want us to look at one text in particular really quickly together, because this is one of the most important texts and one of my favorite texts in all of rabbinic literature, because it doesn't let us off the hook. So if we can turn to the sheet that you have in front of you, and I'm going to invite someone to read for us. Starting on Mishnah Yoma 8:9, if I can have a volunteer with regard to one who says. Thank you, Leonard.
With regard to one who says, I will sin and then I will repent. I will sin and I will repent. Heaven does not provide him with the opportunity to repent, and he will remain a sinner all his days. Regard to one who says, I will sin, and Yom Kippur will atone for my sins. Yom Kippur does not atone for his sins. Furthermore, for transgressions between a person and God, Yom Kippur atones. However, for transgressions between a person and another, Yom Kippur does not atone until he appeases the other person.
Thank you, Leonard. So why this text is so important? First of all, let's just understand how chutzpahdik this text is, because the rabbis are the kings of loopholes. They love loopholes. They find ways all the time to if we were cynical, we would say outsmart God. But what they're really trying to do is to make Judaism possible for an entire group of people who no longer have the temple and who maybe live outside of Eretz Israel too, but definitely don't live in a place of Jewish autonomy. But even the rabbis say, this is not a loophole that we're going to put up with. Yom Kippur, Saul and I were talking about this before services started this morning. The profundity that comes from this Mishnah is that they had to put it down at all, which means that up until this point, some people were using as a theological crutch the ability to say, I'm okay, Yom Kippur is here. Yom Kippur is going to magically take away all my sins. And the rabbis had to stop and say, no, you're missing the point. That's not how this works. Yom Kippur doesn't come and then all of a sudden the couch is clean. It's not how it works. And you're missing the point. Really, the idea of Yom Kippur in synagogue is supposed to be us and God. And all the way up until that point, not starting at Elul, but really starting the day after Yom Kippur and going all the way until the next year, is that collectively, over and over again, we're supposed to think of the tshuva that we need to do. You don't just get to say Yom Kippur is my out. And the first part too, which is very important, which is to say, I can sin, but then I'll just ask for forgiveness and I'll be okay. The rabbis are doing something pretty remarkable, which is to say that we live in this world of magic, of beauty, of power, of all of these things that the rabbis believe in, because they do. They believe in magic and mysticism and demons and angels. They believe in all of these things, and yet, not here. Yom Kippur is magic. It is not magic for us. It is not an out. It is not our ability to be able to leave the couch. The couch is there. And what I want us to think about right now is that one of the hardest things that comes with the ability of doing tshuva is that when we get to the point of just thinking about it, of taking a step back and looking at it, it can be so overwhelming because we're people. And you know what it means to be a person? It means to mess up a lot. And it means to hurt a lot of people's feelings. And that's us. That's who we are. Even the best of us, that's what happens. Because we're people who get scared, who get angry, who get sad. All of those things lead to hurting other people. And it's easy to get to this point in our calendar, in the Jewish year, to say, it's okay, Yom Kippur will take care of it. It's also easy to say, I bet that person probably didn't even notice. It's easy to let ourselves off the hook. But what I want us to think about this morning is that it's not just important. It's not just important for us. It's not just important for the people that we've hurt. It is literally everything. It is the entirety of what we are supposed to be doing. Tshuva is not a part of who we are. Tshuva is the entire circle that we live within. We cannot do anything else if we can't learn to come together, to confront one another, to look each other in the eyes, and to say, I've wronged you, and I'm sorry, and I love you. That is the beating heart of who we are. That is everything. And so that couch is dirty. There's a lot of clothes on that couch right now. And I'm looking at you. And you're looking at me. Because we have a couch to clean. And I think we're going to take the time to do it. So what I want us to do before we go into Musaf is I want us to just have the invitation to get there. So we're going to sing one of my favorite nigunim that is called, appropriately, the Elul nigun, because it is a song that is supposed to get us in our intention. It is supposed to set our hearts for this month of Elul and to just let ourselves think about the work that we need to do, because this is powerful work and it is important work. But it involves all of us being able to confront those things in our lives that are hanging out, that are waiting for us, knowing that the work is important. So please join me. I know some of you know this song because we sing it every year, but it goes like this. Ini ai ai da ni ni na ini ai ai da ni ni na ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da ni ni na ini ai ai da ni ni na ai ai da na na da. We'll try that again. Ini ai ai da ni ni na ini ai ai da ni ni na ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da ni ni na ini ai ai da ni ni na ai ai da na na da. Here comes the second part. Ini ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da na 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 na. From the beginning. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai ini ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai ini ai ai da na 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 na. Last time, here we go. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ini ai ai da di di da. Ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai ini ai ai da na na da. Ini ai ai ini ai ai da na na ai. Shabbat shalom, everyone.